Man is born free, and everywhere he is in chains. The opening sentence of the very famous treatise of political philosopher Jean-Jacques. It insists that man was born free, but in the course of his development, he had to subsume his freedom to live in a society, choosing those who would represent his interests as leaders. The fallout from this is that different people all agree to live together, and this gives way to what Rousseau calls the right of the strongest, where a reign of inequality alienates certain groups in society and ends unhappily in general war. But in the final analysis, there must be a time for reconciliation where warring groups come together to seek a middle ground and agree to live in peace. That applies to the recent situation Nigeria finds itself, reeling on all fronts from the incursion of bandits across the country. Operating one game plan, raiding and plundering rural communities, demanding toll from farmers to allow them plant and harvest their crops, and most grievously, abducting ordinary citizens with the aim of demanding ransom from government. The question remains, can all ethnic nationalities adopt a conciliatory stand, especially after passions had reached such a peak, with ethnic profiling clearly leading to crisis in parts of the South? Where must reconciliation start and stop? And do those clearly pushing for it now have their own political agendas, with 2023 just around the corner? This is Politics on Sunday. I am Femi Akonde. The Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai has been uncompromising about his stance that bandits should be treated as criminals and wiped out. And his mettle was tested this week when the bandits decided to attack and abduct at least 30 students from the federal government's College of Forestry Mechanization. The numbers would have been more, but for troops who gave the bandits a good fight and rescued 180 others.
Whatever enemies, what we want our students to return back to us saved. Gaskiani.
The House of Representatives is itself disturbed by the worsening trend and has resolved to contribute its own quota to ending it. The Speaker, Femi Gbajabiamila, this week named the committee that will assist in finding solutions to the security challenges.
Sit down and in the next, hopefully 2-3 weeks, come up with a solid proposal on a way forward, knock heads together, a way forward to stem the security problems in Nigeria.
The move away from secondary to tertiary institutions is also a matter of concern the National Association of Nigerian Students is talking about. Now they are demanding the release of the students unhurt.
We will give the government the benefit of doubt for 4 days, after which we will no longer watch our students become relegated to mere pawns. Failure of the government to emancipate these students within 4 days will lead to the total shutdown of tertiary academic activities in the state.
I had a sit down with Theodore Ekechi, a prominent politician in the Southeast, to look at these crucial issues. Everyone knows that security is almost non-existent in some parts of the country, but more worrisome is this deliberate and calculated attack on education. How troubling is this reality?
Well, let me take it from the perspective that you just asked the question, or you concluded your question. If it is driving a wedge between education and the nation. And I'm sure you are not too far from getting a literary translation of what we all know, Boko Haram, that is saying no to Western education. So let me use this opportunity. Many people who say Boko Haram is all about saying no to Western education, I think they just simply translate it literally. Boko Haram uses that expression to say that they want a new identity, a separate identity, and if you ask me, an identity that is based on some form of Islamic laws, not necessarily the Sharia laws that we are all used to in Nigeria that is recognized by the Nigerian Constitution, but by their own version, their own brand of Islamic laws. So that takes us to the foundation problem. Nigeria has still not been properly positioned as a nation. There is a difference between a country, being a country and being a nation. So what struggle, the struggle we're having all over the country, whether it is in the northeast, in the northwest, in the south-south, in the southeast, and also in the southwest, if you look at it very deeply, it is rooted in the question of what makes us a nation. Are we really a nation? Until we resolve that problem of our nationhood, we will continue to have all these problems. So if you look at what is happening in the northwest, I'm telling you the truth, it is a breakaway. Anybody who tells you banditry has nothing to do with the problem in the north, the person seems to be not catching the real trouble in Nigeria. Boko Haram started as an ideological movement. They wanted to establish their own government in their country. Somewhere along the line, they never got it as easy as they thought they were going to get it. Whether you like it or not, Boko Haram have been routed. So what they have just done now is to retreat. They no more have territory they are controlling. So they have retreated into what you call a guerrilla warfare. That is what they are carrying out. It's guerrilla warfare. And the guerrilla warfare they are carrying out now cannot really be, I don't know what to call it, executed or experimented or exercised within the geographical region of the Northeast alone. Most of them have gotten some kind of breakaway. Don't forget that in the process of waging this war, a lot of them have been armed. There's so much ammunition circulating within their country, particularly as a result of the Boko Haram war. Most of them do not also agree anymore that it is realistic for them to expect to win the war against Nigeria. That is to say, having their own territory. So there have been some breakaways. And when these breakaways leave, they also leave with the intention of continuing to make a living for themselves. And how do they make the living? Because they have not really been gotten back into the society. And if you bring them back into society, they cannot fit in very easily again because they have been indoctrinated and inducted into violence and insurgency. And this is what they express wherever they go. So these are the people you find in the Northwest. These are the breakaway factions or breakaway remnants of Boko Haram who are also now become itinerant. They are moving from place to place. They are the people who have gone there. Otherwise, how did they suddenly manifest in the Northwest? Even though the Northwest problems, as you see them in Zamfara, Niger, has also been compounded by the activities of politicians. So that's the way I look at it. It is not something that we can claim that we don't know the root causes and that we cannot resolve in the first place.
Do you see the government doing enough to stem this tide of banditry?
If you ask me, how do we resolve this problem? I am very consistent in all I've been saying. Let us apply the laws. Recently, Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu called for stakeholders meeting. I respect his wisdom every time. I respect his wisdom and I respect also his tact. But going through all the statements, I have come to the conclusion that there is nothing new that can come out of holding the stakeholders meeting. My suggestion is that the laws are there. Let the government show courage. Let the government at all levels show courage. The problem we have is that there is a hegemonic dimension. There is a hegemonic dimension that those who are supposed to take responsibility in quelling these matters are most of the time constrained by other considerations other than the rule of law. Considerations of how to protect their political institutions, their political basis, because they understand that if they carry the law to the letter, a lot of toes will be stepped on. And most of those toes are those who are responsible for their being in power and they are remaining relevant in the political landscape. So they are sponsors. Some governors even in the Northwest recently have confirmed them. They are sponsors to these people. Herdsmen. Go and meet the average herdsman. After all, we have been living with herdsmen before. As a young boy growing up, I meet them in my father's farms. I meet them on our way to farms. I meet them on our way to visiting other rural villages. And they have been wonderful companies and wonderful people to encounter. When did they suddenly become arm-carrying, arm-wielding, AK-47 wielding headers? Somebody's behind it. Some people are behind it. How do we feature those people? So the government should spend more money and don't look at this as something that we're going to end in the next 24 hours or the next 1 year or 2 years. Let's take a long-term position against headers, bandits, kidnappers, terrorists. Invest very heavily on intelligence gathering and intelligence personnel. And the government should not be proud. It should not be, we shouldn't be too proud. We should come down from our height. And when I say government, I'm talking about government at all levels. We should come down from our height and accept things that we can't control for now. Get outside intelligence to support us in solving the problems we have in this country. And thirdly, like I've always insisted, and it is not a problem of this administration, it's not even necessarily a problem of the last administration, it's a structural problem we have in this country, and that we need to resolve it. Take a look to any of our borders, and you will feel sorry for Nigeria, because there is no definition of who actually is a Nigeria within around the borders. Recently, I was privileged to go to a local government called Fufore, I think somewhere in Adamawa State. And I got to a particular place they call Guri. And I was amazed to see that I was standing less than 100 meters to the Republic of Cameroon. And within 5 minutes, out of curiosity, I took a walk, and I was in the Republic of Cameroon. And I walked back to the Republic of Cameroon. Throughout that walk of about 100, 200, 500 meters, I saw only one immigration officer. And that immigration officer, to me, was not even armed. And to me, was not there because he wanted to check those who are coming and those who are leaving. I think he was just sitting there to fulfill all righteousness that somebody was on duty.
Do you think the chances of your party will still be bright at the next election, considering how your party's approval rating dropped? Also, what is the stake of your region, the Southeast?
APC stands a chance. And I want to also say that beyond the fact that we stand a chance to win 2023, we have almost another 2 years to consolidate on the gains of the party so far and right the wrongs of the party so far, because it will be foolhardy for the party to believe, and I don't think anybody in the party wants to believe that the party has not made mistakes. Nobody in the party will believe that the party has not come short of achieving all it intended to achieve. But the good thing about the actions of the party so far is that the party has always acted in good faith, and they have acted always in the interest of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. But one or two shortcomings have taken place, and I know it is an opportunity that we still have between now and 2023 to right them, at least to show that that commitment we had when we came into power in 2015, that commitment still lives with us. Any zone that produced the presidency of this country on a platter of gold, or on the basis of zoning, or on the basis of allocation, it has never happened. But every time when Nigeria goes into contest for the presidency, there has always been a moral consideration in balancing all the forces within the country to achieve equity, fairness, and justice. But in trying to achieve equity, fairness, and justice, it is never given to the direction of those who fold their arms and watch things unfold. Therefore, the challenge for any section of this country that believe it is right, proper, and just for a president to emerge from their clan, the challenge is for them to face the challenge. And what is the challenge? To come out openly and strongly to tell Nigerians why they should be voted for. Nobody allocates presidency to any particular zone. I am not aware that Buhari became president because the team was allocated or zoned to the northwest. I'm not aware of that. I'm also not aware that Yar'Adua became president because it was also allocated and zoned to the northwest. I am not aware of that. I'm also not aware that that Obasanjo became president because it was allocated to the northwest. I'm also not aware, the southwest. It was not the Oduduwa People's Congress or the Arewa, or the Afenifere fraternity that made Obasanjo president. It wasn't Arewa that also made Buhari president. Therefore, it does not make sense for anybody to expect that Ohaneze can make anyone from the Southeast president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It's not going to work. What I challenge my kinsmen who think they are worthy of becoming president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, let them go up and walk across the Niger, across the river Benue, shake hands, make consultations to people. When the time comes, they say when two equities become equal, the force in time will begin to prevail. When we discover that there is a Mr. Shehu from Niger State and a Mr. Musa from, say, Katsina State, and an Obi from Imo State, or one Ekechi from the Southeast who wants to be president, and we look at them, they all possess the qualities of becoming president. And we look at them, they seem to be at par in those qualities of becoming president. We can now say, for the sake of balance, for the sake of equity, for the sake of justice, let this Ekechi from Southeast prevail.
What level of confidence do you have in the country's electoral system, and indeed the Electoral Amendment Bill Act that is likely to be passed by the middle of this year?
Electoral amendment is feasible, but again, it will take a very strong leadership to achieve that. And I want to say there are so many other areas that we need to think about. One of the biggest constraints people in power have in amending our electoral system is the fact that they feel that it reduces their chances of coming back again. But now that we have a president who is going to leave the field individually, come 2023, it's an opportunity to block all loopholes that are remaining. Whether such loophole existed before he became president or not shouldn't really now matter. Whether those whom he is going to leave behind, who are in his party, are going to be shortchanged or benefit from it should now really not matter. I want the president to act individually now in his own clear conscience and support anything that will ensure that votes count come 2023. They understand it. I have listened to the INEC chairman and I know they have the will. There are so many of them. I only want to say that when they bring that, they should also increase the awareness campaign they do so that ordinary Nigerians will support them in making the National Assembly to make that law go through. Most of the time, the National Assembly understand this and they think that they have suffered, more than think that they have suffered so much. And they have not been able to benefit from those loopholes that now they have benefited and now they are in power or they are in the chambers. They don't want to plug the loopholes so that they will come back as much as possible. But if we have a very strong campaign that is spearheaded by INEC, we can achieve that. So that everything that makes elections results not to count from the polling booth should be corrected.
Your state, Imo State, has been in the news lately, especially the much talked about clash between Governor Hope Uzodinma and Senator Rochas Okorocha. What is your opinion on all of this?
At the risk of being immodest, let me say the Imo issue is an issue that I had said I wasn't going to be talking about now for some time to come. Not because I'm a coward, or not because I'm running away from responsibility, but because I started this struggle in Imo State sometime March 18 or March 7, 2018. I confronted my then leader of the party, who was then also the governor of Imo State, and told him through a world press conference that enough was enough and that we have seen enough of his brigandage, we have enough of his irresponsibility in administering the state, that we have seen enough of the looting within the state, the rascality within the state, we have seen enough of the running the state like a family estate, and that some of us were afraid that if we stayed with him till the end of his tenure, we would be lumped along with him as those who helped in the carnage in Imo State, in looting of Imo State. And so I did what I could call a caveat emptor on that day. And from that day, I followed it through and then was able to get the support that we eventually got. Secondly, it is wrong for anybody to say that it is a witch hunt or a personal battle between Hope Uzodinma and Rochas Okorocha. Hope didn't set up the panel of inquiry. So if Hope had not been declared governor of Imo State, perhaps people have been saying that, oh, there is a war, there is a stalemate, there is a confusion, there is a conflict, there is a contest between Rochas and Emeki Hedjong. That was a judicial panel of inquiry that was set up by Emeki Hedjong by popular demand. Imo people demanded for it. And when Hope became governor, a lot of stakeholders in Imo State told Hope, if you must dismantle anything, don't touch the judicial panel of inquiry. My contribution to that effect is well documented. So Hope was told, don't touch that. It was by popular demand. So the judicial panel of inquiry sat for almost a period of 1 year. Rochas Okorocha was invited severally, even through public adverts, public publications. Family members were invited. Relations were invited. People who serve under his administration were invited. I offered to go and testify. Rochas snubbed the panel. And as soon as Hope won the election, the same Rochas who was against Hope extended the hand of friendship. I'm a witness. Embraced Hope in the public glare. It was in the public glare that he did. The National Party chairman then was there. Many stakeholders from within and outside Imo State were there. He hugged Hope, followed Hope to Government House. We were all together when Hope was sworn in. On the swearing-in day, all his supporters, all his followers, talking about Rochas Okorocha, came together. I remember there was a committee that went around Government House to see things that would be put in place temporarily for the government to take off. And it is a common knowledge in Imo State. The only thing Rochas asked for, beyond nominating commissioners and all that, was that Hope should dismantle or disband the judicial panel of inquiry. I also remember that many Nigerians anticipated that that was what he was going to ask for. I also made a presentation to Hope. You cannot dismantle the judicial panel of inquiry, because that is the last hope of Imo people in getting back at bad leadership in Imo State. So the outcome, the report of the judicial panel of inquiry, is not a report made by Hope Uzodinma, the governor of Imo State. It is a report made by a properly set up judicial panel of inquiry. And Hope Uzodinma, as the sitting governor, did what he is supposed to do by studying the report and issuing a white paper. What the government of Imo State is now doing is the execution of the white paper. Nobody is withholding Rochas Okorocha. And Rochas, like I told the governor recently, is almost succeeding in his strategy. Distract people's attention from the looting that had happened in Imo State, the misrule of Imo State, and make people see it that he is having problem with Hope Uzodinma, who was not formerly of APC, who was not a foundation member of APC, who have now come to APC and now is trying to fight him because he wants to be president. That is not true, but that is the anticipated antics. Those who knew him and those who know him certainly are aware of what I'm talking about. So please, to Nigerians, let me correct an impression. I'm not a Hoper's boy. I'm not a Hope's boy. And that is why I'm not holding any position in his administration. And I'm not likely going to hold anyone in his administration. That is why I don't run to Government House every now and then. I only go there when it is necessary to give good counseling. And I thank God he listens to me when I do. I am not asking for any favor from the Hope as the governor of Imo State. But the truth must be told. There is no problem between Rochas and Hope Uzodinma. But there is a very big problem. A very big problem between Rochas Okorocha, who ruled Imo State for 8 years, and the people of Imo State.
So Nigeria finds itself at a critical phase. We must increasingly consider the things that bind us as against things that pull us apart. It is apparent that the issue of banditry is now an issue that affects all Nigerians, no matter where he or she is situated. Leaders and Nigerians alike must work together to bring peace to the nation. It is only in an atmosphere of peace that Nigerians can exercise their franchise and bring leaders of their choice if indeed they are dissatisfied with the present crop of leaders. We will call it a wrap here. Join us next week when we'll take a critical look at another aspect of our national discourse. I am Femi Akonde.